Hello friends. Everyone knows the joke about how the Bulgarian clairvoyant Vanga has been gone for a long time, yet her predictions continue to this day. Many ask to leave the spirit of the deceased person alone, but the close ones of the clairvoyant think and speak differently. Every year, new prophecies of Vanga are voiced, which she bequeathed to reveal in specific years after her death. Supposedly, if this is done earlier or later, people will either forget about the important impending event or say that the predictions were made after something happened. Now, the year 2023 has come to an end, and Vanga's relatives have already begun to share what was predicted for the upcoming 2024 year. Today, we will tell you about the statements made by people who personally knew the great clairvoyant. But before we do that, let's recall all the previous predictions of Vanga voiced in advance, especially the one that concerned the date with 5 2s. Subscribe to our channel to not miss new releases. After watching this video, you will learn what awaits us in 2024. On Channel 1, in the studio of the exclusive program, the famous Vanga, Sergei Kostornoy, appeared again. To find out the specific dates of future events, he suggested comparing with the Slavic calendar, which was recognized by the Bulgarian clairvoyant. She called it the most accurate of all, and often, without naming specific dates, it was possible to establish them precisely according to it. Following the clairvoyant's sayings, the date with 5 2s was supposed to become the beginning of a global transformation of the world. We thought that there should be only 2s and 0s on this date, but nothing was said about it in the prediction. As a result, on February 24, 2022, the Russian special operation in Ukraine began, containing 5 2s in the date. We warned you about this day in advance. After the Air Defense Day, as the clairvoyant predicted, the planet began a rapid transformation, and the world faced the consequences of this event. However, so far, we feel these changes not as globally as the prophecy promised. But the consequences are not over yet, and today there is a very high probability that ahead of us is the culmination of all events. Moreover, the disciple and close friend of the Indian astrologer Ananda Anuradha claims that by the end of 2024, the Russian special operation will end with a complete victory of the Russian Federation, as Ukraine will stop supporting it, finally nullifying its chances. On March 20th, according to the Slavic calendar, the new year 2024 will begin. This will be the day of the vernal equinox, and the totemic animal of the coming year is considered to be the dark elk. Vanga considered it one of the strongest totemic animals, determining the future of the year. Our ancestors studied cyclicity, tracking it for hundreds of years. The elk opens a whole cycle of events of the coming year, being a born leader and pioneer. He always leads others, symbolizing leadership, which will show the way for everyone else. Many astrologers, including Ananda, predict a successful and favorable 2024 for strong and intelligent leaders. The president of Russia is considered such a leader. Sergei Kostornoy said that decisive actions will be taken in politics and economics of countries. The main events that worry the world today are the conflict in the Middle East and the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. If these problems are not finally resolved this year, the consequences may be fatal for states and even continents. This year brings people decisiveness, which, we hope, will not worsen the situation of peaceful people in countries torn apart by conflicts. To understand how the next year will affect you personally, follow our updates. Vanga advised recalling the dates of previous cycles to understand what 2024 will bring, as well as to have an approximate idea of what will happen in 2040 and beyond. Try to remember what was experienced every 16 years ago, for example, in 2008, 1992, 1976 to 1977. Vanga bequeathed to people who will live until 2024 to pray, as events are expected that are not as optimistic as many anticipate. The quote from Sergei Kostorny transmitting the words of the Bulgarian clairvoyant sounds like this: "There will be great turmoil in Europe, this turmoil that we already observe, the conflict between Muslim people and Europeans. There will be great turmoil in America, some political changes will happen in Russia in the government, which ordinary people will perceive with pleasure, because wealthy people will lose money, and poor people will gain it." End of quote. Also, Vanga spoke about the great migration of people. It, as we see from world events, has already begun, with whole cities and even countries being wiped off the face of the earth by wars and disasters. Vanga linked this migration to the fact that glaciers continue to melt. In her visions, huge rivers overflowed, lakes and oceans changed the outlines of their shores, washing away vast swathes of land. There will be a lot of water, Vanga said, every year more and more, while huge land masses at the other end will be affected by drought, earthquakes will cleanse. Ultimately, a new world map will be needed to delineate various areas, as wars, disasters, and anomalies will completely transform the world in 2024, as claimed by the renowned astrologer Anand. At least 2 earthquakes will occur, which will claim a huge number of human lives. If you are watching this video in 2025, write about whether the prediction discussed has come true. Fortunately, the regions of Russia will not be affected. This was said by both Anand and his friend, the clairvoyant astrologer Anuradha Verma, about her prophecies. There is also a video on the channel. Returning to Vanga and her predictions for 2024, Sergei Kostorny reported that by the end of the coming year, many countries will already await stable development, most likely referring to Russia, as it has already participated in the change of the world order, as discussed by well-known clairvoyants and mediums. Wolf Grigorievich Messing was sure that it is precisely the actions of Russia that will begin the change of the entire world order. Obviously, this implies a movement towards a multipolar world. In the end, in the next 10 to 15 years, we will already come to it, if, of course, we rely on the prophecy of Stoyan Petrov. The writer, friend, and translator of Vanga, in turn, voiced what Vanga did not say about the emergence of the strongest earthquake in the history of the Pacific Ocean in 2024. Quote, "There is no such thing in 2024, I have not heard of such a thing." She said that there will be natural disasters, that they are intensifying, mainly due to human activity. Some will come from space. She said that life will continue. And even if there are viruses, new diseases, humanity will cope with them. End of quote. Her predictions about the disaster that will come from space in 2024 are of particular concern. Scientists say that at least another 200 years will not threaten the Earth with encounters with large asteroids capable of causing damage to the whole Earth or its greater part. However, minor collisions are possible, which, in general, on a regional level, can cause damage. In this case, what disaster from space could Vanga be talking about in 2024? If there is something to tell, write in the comments. We, in turn, will remember Vanga's prediction about what will happen after the day of 5/2s. We have already voiced it on the channel. What threatens the Earth from space? The clairvoyant said, "The time of the great turmoil is coming, the time of the beginning of the great solar storm." Until recently, this prediction was interpreted as solar flares, with the release of some destructive energies affecting the Earth. But in reality, this theory of energy has not been proven by anyone, and Vanga described completely different events with the solar storm. The clairvoyant claimed that this storm would have catastrophic consequences for vast territories on the planet. With its onset, a period of hunger and a shortage of drinking water will come. Stock up, there will be none. This means that it can be assumed that the nuclear arsenals of countries will remain untouched. At least on a global scale, there will be no major war. Stoyan Petrov conveyed Vanga's words verbatim. And these were all the predictions of the Bulgarian clairvoyant for 2024. If you liked the video, do not hesitate to like it and write in the comments what you think about all this. Do you believe in predictions? Subscribe to the channel to be the first to watch videos about the future. Until next time.